Hello, everyone. Welcome to Highly Intelligent. I'm your host, Jared Martin. Today, I got a very special guest. This is NoahOrion42, also known as the Wall of Sound, which is featured right behind him.
Yes, sir.
How did you get started on this?
I got started on this because, dude, I used to play in different rock bands in my hometown. I live in Spokane, Washington, and the neighbors would always be calling the cops on us. So we would put speakers against the walls and turn it up even louder and louder. I mean, I was in a band where we would play like between the hours of like 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. to practice, and our noise ordinance is at 10 p.m. So we'd have like these crazy neighbors, and they'd call like right at 9 p.m. and we're like, noise ordinance is at 10. So for like the last hour, we'd just be like, all right, put the speakers against the wall and fight them, whatever. So at some point, I was like, okay, instead of building these giant walls of speakers inside the house, might as well do something productive with it. Do a little Instagram challenge, get something popping, start a brand for myself, and that is exactly what I'm doing.
You started out and you got the followers. How did you fund all these speakers?
I'm a couple bucks in right now, not gonna lie. So I
Yeah?
saved up, yeah, dude, I saved up a couple paychecks, and I found a lot of I think 100 speakers on Marketplace. Um, like right as the challenge began. I mean, sometimes the universe presents you with situations where it's like, green light, you go ahead and do your thing, man. So yeah, I'm about 5 grand deep into the project, and we just had our first fundraiser the other night, which went okay. It went all right. We had our concert, first Wall of Sound show. It was fun. It was good.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the outcome of that? Like
The outcome was
what
all right.
planning went into that and
Yeah, there was a couple red lights, a couple hiccups, but there was ultimately good success and good reputability built on the Wall of Sound. Right, people come to hear loudspeakers on a wall and good music, and that is exactly what they were presented with. I hooked up as many speakers as I could for the concert. Honestly, it was pretty crazy. Uh, if I can get you a video of the setup I was running, I will. But basically, I turned on the ones that were gonna sound good for that show because I was like, okay, we're not gonna like have like half of the wall turned on and then half the other turned on, and it starts phasing out, and then you get this really big whoa, 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 whoa. I was like, okay, no, we're just gonna turn on the big PA for it and get that sounding really good, and that's what we did. And it was cool because I got to get pretty creative. I put like two Serwin Vega 15 subs right up front so people could feel the bass, and then I got like a big 18-inch fog hat cab. It was a cab that Fog Hat used to use on stage. So that was pretty cool for running bass and stuff. But yeah, no, the show was all right. It was great. It was really fun. I rocked out with my band 42 crew, and God, we rocked people's cocks off, to say the least.
solid. Solid.
Yeah, we kept with the
So how
SpongeBob theme a
many
little bit too. Oh yeah, what's up?
how many speakers do you have currently wired up?
Currently wired up. God, probably like 60. I can.
I see.
Let me take you around
That's
back
pretty
here.
crazy. Oh yeah.
The wiring situation on wall number one. I mean, if I can show it to you, there's a little sneak peek of like how I've tried to wire it. Like
I see. I
bunch of them
see.
in parallel. Yeah, a bunch of them in parallel. Um, and then just running from like home amplifiers and stuff.
How do you power all this?
Oh, I do it out of the back of my work. I work for a mining company, so we got a bunch of industrial power outlets that I just run extension cords out of the back of. I'm kind of upping their power
Oh
bill though,
shit,
so
okay.
I got to start pulling my weight. So I'm gonna help them with their marketing and whatnot.
Solid. So how'd you get the location for this? Like what was the idea?
I work in an industrial park for a mining company, so we have a big
Oh,
backyard. And
okay.
I made a deal with the boss. I was like, dude, I will clean the entire backyard if I can use this thing for use the backyard for my giant speaker wall project. And he's like, yeah, yeah, okay,
So is it all secure there? Like
yeah,
are they
yeah.
safe?
I set up security cameras, and we got barbed wire fences, and yeah, we've actually done pretty good on upping the security. I did get robbed once, and that was a big problem because I had a bunch of cords and a bunch of amplifiers get stolen. So that was really really cool. But it's like whatever. You can set me back, put me down, shove my head in the dirt, and I'll still figure it out. So
Is there any like legal implications of when the wall gets too big? Have you thought about this?
oh, I'm sure they would like to shut me down, but I have the biggest sound weapon in the world. um, so the noise ordinance down here doesn't exist. We were able to go till 1 a.m. the other night at the Wall of Sound concert with our little late night rave. We did a SpongeBob rave, by the way. It was awesome. But we're in an industrial park and the wall faces east. And in our city, like north and south is where all the houses are. Facing east in this big valley of Spokane, it basically just shoots to a bunch of businesses. So like late at night, if I'm blasting music, no one's gonna call the cops. And I'm like pretty tight with everybody around in the area. We all just make sure it's good. But yeah, when it comes to dealing with like people getting pissed off about music, I mean, fuck them. You know, they're like, oh, you can't have
Yeah.
fun, you can't play music. It's like, dude, shut up.
How many speakers do you plan to potentially put on this wall?
500,
You just gonna go
500.
infinite?
Nope, 500.
500.
Yeah, I did the math and I was like, okay, at some point, right, it's like, okay, that's excessive. But 500 speakers on a wall would be a perfect time to be able to grow myself and also grow the brand about it. And at 500, I want to do a big tour of the United States or the Americas. Um,
How are you gonna get mobile with 500 speakers?
hey, I got you covered. So I just acquired. If you've seen on my page, I just acquired a mobile home that I smashed the entire top off of, turned it into a flatbed, and it's a 40-footer. So I was like, dude, one or two of these traveling around on a truck, you can make it a touring show so easily. I mean, it might not be like the tallest thing in the world. Like this thing's almost like 2 stories tall now, but it's going to be a like cool touring unit. It's going to be the mobile wall of sound, and if I'm able to market myself enough with it and put it together, boom, I can put on a big touring show.
So when you're buying speakers, do you think about like what speakers you need right now, or do you just
Yes,
go
sir.
for
Yeah.
full bass?
No, I like to strategically place them. Absolutely. Yeah. Up top, it's a little bit okay. So it's been raining this weekend, so I've got the whole wall tarped over here. But like over on this section, I've got a bunch of speakers. Then down here, I've got a bunch of like that bass cab I was telling you about. And then on like the floor of the stage, I have a couple different cabs built in as well. So like when people came to the Wall of Sound the other night, the concert, they were able to hear a full surround sound system that sounded good. Like that's really important. And I went to school in Hollywood for not for music and sound design. Well, I went to school for music, but not for sound design. I went for music business. But while I was there, I was able to pick up on a lot of stuff and be like, okay, stage design, I can do that. I can do it in my own way, right? I mean, you got to be a jack of all trades on this
Yeah.
stuff if you really want to succeed.
You've talked about getting on the road with it, but do you have any more shows that you want to put on right now?
Honestly, I think being able to take it to people is going to be more ROI positive. People can come here, but I am going to need to get my own facility first, which is why I fired up, the most awesome wicked band I think I've ever seen or heard, which is 42 Crew. Taking that to be able to put on shows for people and really make that profitable is probably the best move. I mean, I could have people coming in and coming to the Wall of Sound every weekend, but I think that would be a smarter move as I get my own property. So what I have to do right now is monetize, figure out how I can put 500 speakers on a wall, put them in a location that's appropriate for me, where I can be the sole person or my business can be the sole liable person. Because having a bunch of people coming in and rocking out brings liabilities, obviously.
You mentioned you had a couple hiccups in the show. What kind of challenges did you have?
The show went well. People were entertained and had a good time. There was a couple different like
Definitely.
situational hiccups with like let's say actually during sound check it was funny. We did draw too much power and the system did shut off at one point. But then I figured out how to balance it out. I was like, okay, just less bass and you're not gonna ruin the entire thing. So we turned bass back a little bit, but it was still pumping. Um, and then like dealing with how to monetize with different artists. We had one communication error where one artist said, "Oh, this is a free show," and then I was marketing $10 at the door because I'm like, "This is a fundraiser to fund the wall of speakers. So how are we going to profit if you're saying it's a free show?" So we have that hiccup. Um, so interesting stuff like that. And the way I slingshotted out of that problem is this artist marketed his show as free. I was like, okay, yeah, that's what you did. I'll let your fans in free. But immediately after your show, they got to go to the door and pay to see the rest of the show. Because that's what you got to do if you really want to profit, right?
So did that work? Like,
It
did
worked all
it?
right. That was a good hiccup, but dude,
sound.
I'm on such a learning curve through this whole thing. I mean, when I first started
Yeah.
it, I had to go, what is phase comb filtering? And then everyone's like in the comments, it's gonna phase out, whatever. You actually can get it to sound pretty good. But like, dude, it's just like the whole thing's a big learning experience, and that's the beauty of it, right? Like, for example, I
Yeah.
started one speaker every 1,000 followers and then did one speaker every 100 followers. I filmed those two videos in the same day, seeing which one would do better, and then they both took off. And so I had a bunch of people. I had like 20,000 people extremely confused. Like, is it one speaker every 1,000 or one speaker every 100? I like to experiment with stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'm going to change it back to a.
Oh, you cut out there.
Well, my laptop died. Sorry about that. But hey, I took the time to unpack a little bit of the rest of the wall while it was charging there. So basically, here,
Nice.
let me just start from where we were. So on setting up the wall,
Yeah.
I was very vigilant in thinking, putting bass down low. If you can see that cab, that blue cab right there, that that cab was used on
Yeah.
stage with Foghat, the band that wrote "Slow Ride." It's a big 18-incher. Then we got the JBL Sound Factor on top, and then up on my tippy top, we got a bunch of monitors. Right, so you want to put your bass down low, and then you want to put your monitors up high, and then of course I've got like all these random ones that I really just turn them up for the bass because you don't want a bunch of tweeters sounding all weird and differently. But if you hook them up for just the bass and turn up turn the highs down, turn the lows up, works pretty well. It's pretty cool.
Are you worried about the sound going over people's heads? Do you
Actually,
think there's
that's
a
a good question. We did design that. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, you ever been to a concert where they got the speakers up loud? It just projects it more. But that's what each
That's
horn is
true.
designed for. It's supposed to go, you know, each horn has its shape where it comes out like this and like that. And you got your tweeter in here, so it shoots it down, out, and up. Just got to get powerful speakers.
You could eventually like build the wall around so that it's like a dome of speakers.
That would be cool.
That would be
I
crazy.
definitely for the next venture with making our first trailer of sound, putting the wall on a trailer. It's gonna go to the left of it, just like literally over
I
here.
see.
It's gonna be to the side of it. So yeah, it'll kind of come out a little bit. Uh, maybe a circle of sound that might have a ring to it. I don't know.
Circle of sound. You got all the speakers up now. Are you just gonna keep growing the followers for now? Like, what's the current plan?
So the current plan is well, I do my stuff in short goals and big term goals. Right now, I gotta hit 100K. Right, that's a big deal. That's like
That's
mass
true.
influence
You're
levels.
so close.
I know, right? I'm so close. I gotta put up a couple more bangers. But I want to get to 500 speakers, and at 500 speakers, we do a big old tour. Get this thing booked out at a bunch of different places. Um, and honestly, the big goal, I want to be able to market myself as a rocker alongside this as like it is my thing, and I market my own show with it. Whether I can go on the road opening for big bands or something like that, and then taking it to the next level, going up and up and up. That's what I want to do. I mean, this is the new era of like influencers and stuff. Instagram's just popping it off, so it's really showing. I mean, this is the playground. We get to play with what we are going to do to monetize our stuff and how we're going to build ourselves as influencers. It's really cool. I see a lot of different people doing it on Instagram, and I think mine is one of the more like really real life value based projects, and I think that's a good thing.
Do you have any thoughts on the gasoline pit?
Brandon, dude. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
Brandon Thrasher, the dude with the gasoline hole. That's interesting, right? I bet you a bunch of people would pay to come actually see a gasoline hole get lit on fire. It was really funny because I did get to talking to him, and finding a way to actually fund that would be wild. I mean, you would need a lot of people actually.
yeah. Gasoline is so
Yeah,
expensive right now.
yeah, you need a lot of people caring and a lot of people donating, or like a killer sponsorship with like Shell or something. And you'd have to do it in the desert. Him and I joked back and forth, and I was like, we'll do a giant wall of speakers concert in the desert, and about a mile off behind it, we'll do a giant gas hole and have the biggest pyrotechnics show ever. I think that would be awesome, honestly.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, it's doable. It's just,
So what do you What do you think of the end outcome?
And outcome 500 speakers on a wall, take it on tour. Dude, honestly, I want to just keep going up and up and up with this. I have ideas for literally, years of how I can slingshot this and build it into my own thing where I'm, building myself up. Ultimately, first nightclub in space, wall of sound. It's so loud you can hear it in outer space. I think we could put a nightclub in space if I really run this right.
That would be crazy. I mean, Elon Musk's on the he's almost there. He's gonna bring
Yeah,
us
he's
to
doing his
Mars.
thing, right? Dude, I'm super into space stuff too. So like if you actually run it like a proper business, I mean, we see influencers making a ton of money right now, right? Like even for example,
Yeah.
Daddy Wellness. You ever seen that guy on Instagram, Daddy Wellness?
I don't think I have. I may have though. I just might not know him by name.
That guy, that he does like wellness tips and fitness tips and like he's like super charismatic and he has his own little like platform where he sells his unique training routine to all these people and it's $50 a month. He's got like $800
I
or 800
see.
people. He's got 800 people paying him $50 a month. Do that math. That's a
That's
couple G's per month.
insane.
Yeah, right. So if you're an
Yeah.
influencer and you can actually find a way to monetize the living crap out of what you're doing, good. That's my freaking goal right now. So I have to run that right, and whether that's running shows, selling some sort of product, or showing other musicians how to grow themselves, whatever that is, I am finding that, and it's a good process, and it's fun to be building a giant wall of speakers in the process.
Yeah, I feel you on the monetization. I'm also struggling right now to monetize the podcast. I got subscriptions going now, but it's about getting out enough content and like advertising it in the right way so that people actually want to spend their money on it.
Dude, the subscription thing is interesting, right? Instagram, everyone's scrolling. They're looking, what are we looking for? What's this? What's that? They don't even want to tap to put in their credit card information. It's got to be so damn simple. Like, so that's why I'm thinking
Yeah.
like if I'm able to take my thing, my wall of speakers to a town, make it like a real thing people can come to, they're going to be way more motivated to actually go see it because they saw it online, there's hype about it, and you're not telling them you got to go do some subscription or you got to go do, whatever, go to my online university and then you're just tapping and like annoyed. It's just got to be a super good
Yeah.
experience. And my thing, I love fun. So obviously I'm going to do it in a fun way.
So, do you have any future themes planned for your events?
Oh my God. Yeah, we're going to do some Mad Max stuff. I haven't seen the new Furiosa, but I'm
Oh shit.
really,
Okay.
dude, I'm so excited.
You're in
There's
the
the next
perfect
show.
setting for it.
The next show is going to be 4th of July, and that's going to be a blast too. It's going to be the headlining band is going to be 42 Crew, me and the boys, obviously, and we're just going to throw a big old American rock and roll party.
I guess that's about everything.